Some breaking news on the campus of the University of Chicago. Campus police there breaking up a protester encampment.
Police in riot gear arrived on campus early this morning. Joni has been there very early. She has the latest. Joni, what has unfolded since you arrived?
Well, the campus police, as you said, moved in just before 5 a.m. And these protesters have been holding the line now for 2 hours. There's a bullhorn behind us, so it's very loud. Christopher was on the inside when it happened. Describe what happened in the quadrangle this morning.
Yeah, it was horrific. They waited like cowards until every single student was asleep in their tent, basically. And then they stormed in, maybe 40 or 50 of them with riot gear screaming. They started throwing wood planks, throwing chairs, throwing absolutely everything in any direction to destroy the camp as fast as possible, to suppress this movement as fast as possible. And in fact, one of the chairs that they threw came within maybe 3 inches of hitting my girlfriend in the head. And they had just woken us up.
So it was dark because it was before sunrise. You had a warning that they were coming, but they did for a while, and so everybody was asleep.
We had no warning. No, we had no warning.
Okay, so then what did you do when all that action was happening?
I tried to make sure everyone was safe. I mean, it was chaos. It was terrifying. Yeah.
So you were able to get out. I understand that students are being threatened with disciplinary action for being in there.
They gave us some ridiculous notice out here saying that participants in the quad encampment, which no longer exists thanks to them, are facing like an interim leave of absence as well as a criminal trespass charge. I have no idea if that's just a scare tactic or if it's real, but it doesn't matter because the difference between us and people like these cops is that there are limits to when we continue following orders. And when you're talking about a genocide visited upon a colonized population of 2 million people trapped in a ghetto that's as long as a marathon and 6 miles wide, when that ghetto is being systematically starved, slaughtered, every hospital bombed, every university bombed, 70% of homes destroyed, 40,000 people murdered, 15,000 children murdered, the entire population on the brink of starvation, we say, and if our government and our academic institutions are complicit in this, there comes a point where we say we're not following orders and it doesn't matter what you do to us because there are principles and there are human lives that matter more than our careers and our futures, and that's what separates us from people like Paul Alivisatos, the coward president of this university, and these coward cops that come in terrorizing an encampment while people are sleeping.
You've been standing at this line linked arm in arm with other protesters. What has happened here?
What's happening here, you'd have to ask them. Apparently they're trying to intimidate us, trying to suppress the protest that is continuing to grow. I think that they thought they could basically terrify us into inaction, into flight. But this is what this university has never understood, has never accepted, has never reckoned with about this student movement, and not just at Chicago, but around the country, is that the commitment to Gaza runs deeper than fears for our safety, fears for our careers, fears for our paychecks. It is a fundamental obligation we have as citizens of a country that is presiding over this genocide, arming this genocide, and as students at a university that is invested in those same weapons manufacturers and that is partnered with the same apartheid institutions that train that military and develop its technology.
There was some pushing and shoving. I don't know who was pushing or shoving, but I know that there was tension here at the line. You've tried to have a conversation with some of these police officers.
Yeah, I've been talking to them this whole time. I've been asking them what it would take for them to stop following orders. I would ask them, how many kids have to die? So if you say 15,000 kids are killed, they're still willing to violently suppress a national movement raising the alarm that this needs to stop, that the U.S. complicity needs to stop. So what if it was 50,000 kids, 200,000 kids, 1 million kids? What if the whole Gaza ghetto?
Do you know if there are next steps here?
For them? For me, the next step is a simple one, whatever form it takes, which is to continue fighting with every breath we have, with everything we have, for the people of Gaza, because the blood of those kids is on our hands. It's on all of our hands, whether we like it or not. If we're U.S. citizens, if we're UChicago students, we are implicated in this horror that is being visited with total impunity because of U.S. Security Council vetoes by the state of Israel.
You're a student?
I'm a student, yes, I'm a PhD student, yeah.
And if you face discipline, what then?
Again, I don't care. It doesn't matter. There are things that matter more than my academic future. And certainly every one of those children that is being murdered, starved, maimed, whose parents are having to choose, do I let this kid starve first or that one? This is such an ugly reality of such great magnitude that to even think to really entertain questions about like, oh, what might happen if Paul puts me on a leave of absence is ridiculous, and it's insulting to the memory of every child that has been murdered in the course of this genocide, with the full complicity of the United States, of Joe Biden, and of people like Paul Alivisatos and his cops that he sticks on us in the middle of the night. They're hypocrites, they're cowards, and the blood of Gaza's kids is on their hands too. The difference between them and us is that we know that and we reckon with it because we have a duty to them while they hide from the truth, and they won't even admit that a single university has been bombed.
Thank you so much.